Dogs are incredible survivors, equipped with an instinct to endure even the harshest conditions. Their strong senses let them see danger, and their thick fur helps control body temperature. However, extreme conditions like freezing snow and severe injuries might cause even the toughest dog to reach their limit. These instances call for human involvement to survive. These are two tales of dogs that battled death in the cold weather. Their determination to survive was matched only by the compassion of people who would not give up on them. In the harsh grip of freezing snow, a small, innocent dog lay trembling. Just a year old, he could not understand why life had been so cruel. His body, fragile and broken, was covered in cuts and bruises. Maggots fed on his wounds, and he lay motionless, sobbing quietly, begging for help. His tiny frame was giving up. But he could not cry more than a whisper. A kind woman found him there, lying helplessly in the snow. She sensed his quiet call for help and saw the agony in his eyes. Her heart broke with every little breath he drew. She gently lifted him and wrapped an old dress over him. She begged to God for his life to be spared. She uttered in a whisper, "Please hold on. I will not leave you." The woman brought him to a rescue squad where he adopted the name Lunka. The crew labored nonstop to save him as he lay helpless on the table. They implored him to stay strong, to hang on until daybreak. X-ray diagnosis exposed the brutal reality. A bullet found its way into his spine, most likely a buckshot. This helped explain why he couldn't walk or climb. His spirit was still flickering with life, but his body was limp and his suffering great. Lunka persevered despite his hardship. Though he battled at all the odds, the damage was grave. His spinal cord had suffered grave harm. He would never move like other dogs again. His walk would always be unique and his steps shaky, but the determined crew would not abandon him. Believing he might still learn and grow, they started his rehabilitation with sheer will and compassion. The road began with light motions and massages. Experts sought to prevent Lunka's muscles from fading away. Everyday activities were targeted at preserving muscle tone and pushing his body to change. These sessions were not only about physical rehabilitation, but also to provide Lunka an opportunity to live and flourish, even in his wounded state. But would his spirit heal? The team drove Lunka to the park one day. For him, as much as for the others, it was a watershed event. It was as if his life was starting over when he saw the world outdoors, felt the fresh air, and sensed the grass under his feet. To see Lunka and experience his resiliency, the crew extended invites to others. Not only for him, but also for everyone who thought he would heal. His development became a beacon of hope. Days developed into weeks, and weeks changed into months. Lunka put in great effort, suffering, and trials that would have broken even the toughest of spirits. But he never gave up. Even though his journey ahead was long, his emotional and physical strength developed daily. Slowly but surely, the small, trembling dog who once lay in the snow began to heal. After 150 days of relentless therapy and unwavering care, the miracle happened. Lunka was able to stand, walk, and even hop on his own. His motions were irregular and his walk permanently changed, but he pressed on with a will that motivated everyone around him. Lunka overcame the odds by demonstrating how love, compassion, and tenacity may reverse even the most dire of circumstances. The woman who carried him from the snow on that fateful day had not only offered him warmth, but hope as well. Though they were markers of survival rather than indicators of sorrow, he carried the wounds of his past. But Lunka never forgot the compassion that had saved him, even if his path had been long and painful. Living as a symbol of will and fortitude, his life was permanently transformed by love and compassion. On a bitterly cold day, with temperatures dropping below -5 degrees Celsius, a small, helpless dog lay shivering on the ground. Her fragile body was battered with injuries. Her bones broken, her spirit drained. Tears streamed from her eyes, a silent plea for help as she trembled in pain and hunger. She was on the verge of death, barely holding on. A kind woman named Julia Melnikova noticed her and couldn't walk away. Seeing the dog in such a delicate condition, she moved fast and sought assistance. The dog was hanging on to life when rescuers got there. She had an ice-cold body and feeble respiration. They whisked her away to the nearest clinic, but were they too late? The crew labored quickly to steady her. Her condition was closely watched while heaters were brought in to thaw her frozen body. To determine the degree of damage, the team performed tests, ultrasounds, and x-rays. The outcomes presented a bad picture. Her hip, pelvis, and pelvic bones were shattered. Her bladder was damaged. Hematomas covered her body, and she was quite overcooled. Her chances were bleak. She would require at least 2 major surgeries if she survived. Though just a year old, she had already experienced terrible suffering. Her road toward healing started the following day. To fix her broken hip, the initial surgery consisted of putting a plate within. Her status was attentively watched following the crucial operation, and the crew prepared for a second pelvic reconstruction operation. She was calm and gentle despite her suffering, as though she knew they were helping her. They called her Yasha, a name meaning power and optimism. By the third day, Yesha underwent her second surgery. Though weak, she held on bravely. The surgery went as planned, and she even ate soon after waking from the anesthesia. It was a small but promising sign. Her survival now depended on the long road to recovery and the rehabilitation ahead. 2 days later, Yesha's healing process began. The goal was clear. She needed to regain her ability to walk on all 4 paws, run, and most importantly, enjoy her life again. She deserved a second chance, and a home where she would be surrounded by love and care. Day by day, Yesha battled to recover. She left the clinic on the 18th day. Still weak, she could walk once more. Her recovery was extraordinary, but her rescuers couldn't help but wonder what had led her to this point. Had her living situation changed? Where did her owner reside? These unresolved issues centered on what really mattered, giving Yesha the future she deserved. On April 15th, exactly 43 days after Yesha was rescued, the once broken dog transformed into a lively, spirited girl. She was running as if she had never endured 2 grueling surgeries. Her resilience was extraordinary. She was affectionate, grateful, and intelligent, a true miracle. Yesha thrived on attention and loved to be praised and hugged. Her joy was contagious, and she brought happiness to everyone around her. Yesha's remarkable recovery was made possible by the kindness of many people, especially Julia Melnikova. It was Julia who saw Yesha at her lowest point and moved first to rescue her. Julia was active in her life even after Yesha recovered, guaranteeing she would always feel loved and cared for. Yesha lives today with the head of the foundation that rescued her. Knowing she had already blended into their family, they chose to keep her. She currently owns a lovely house with lots of running and playing areas. Yesha is flourishing in her new life, surrounded by great company and a large yard. Her story is one of survival, love, and second chances. From a devastated dog lying on the ice to a playful, loving soul, Yesha has shown that kindness can cure even the toughest of wounds. She is a miracle, evidence of the need for compassion, and a sobering reminder that every life is worth saving. These dogs' journeys from despair to hope shows the power of love and care. Even in the darkest moments, a little kindness can save a life.